Okay, yes, Richard, here you are.
Yeah, can you see me, sir?
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir.
Great, great, great. So, you are leaving for Nagaland, you told me, within few weeks?
Sir, actually, I think by next week I'll try to leave because of the police verification and IP verification. They require us to be present at our home address.
Okay, okay. Anyway, thanks for being with us. And
Sure, sir.
so, you will like to, first of all, I should congratulate you from the side of all the students here and from the side of entire Rouse. Not just
Thank you so
Paved
much.
students, but from entire Rouse. Okay, you made a great feat. Fantastic. First of all, the same year PCS and the same year making it to IAS also. Will you like to talk, say something to the students? So over to you, Richard, for next few minutes. I'm here only. Okay, so I will also be with you. And Karthik, Raj and all, they ask so many questions.
Okay.
Okay, Mansi, Pratik, everyone is there. Over to you, Richard. Please take over.
Thank you, first of all, for having me. Good morning to all of you. I hope all of you are doing fine. My name is Richard Yanthan. I was a student at Rouse from 2017 to 18. I was there for my GS. I was in GS 2C. After that, I joined my optionals in public administration. So I've had both my GS in public administration from Rouse. I've also done my mock interview from Rouse itself. So you can say that I'm a true student of Rouse. You know, I've done all the 3 stages from Rouse. So saying that, you know, you should be confident that whatever the coaching institute is teaching you, I mean, it will be valid. So I gave my first attempt in 2018. Then last year I gave my second attempt. There I made some changes and I was able to, you know, clear this time with a rank of 133.
So Richard has said everyone is just silent.
Are there any questions or how do we?
Anything where you can be helped in preparation? See, children, it requires motivation and focus. Okay. So if you want to ask, because we keep telling that's perfect, but when you actually meet someone who has been in this process, that is more motivating. And Richard can be very helpful to you in that case. Please raise your hand who want to ask question. Ashi has raised hand. Ashi, go ahead. Shreya Mishra, Ashi. Ashi, first of all, you please ask.
So, sir, congratulations first of all. Could you please share a strategy of public administration preparation?
Okay, first of all, thank you. Public administration strategy, you know, requires you to be in tune with what the subject requires. If you see last year's question paper, you'll notice there's something different in public administration. It was a shock to us also in the exam hall. I mean, we were also surprised. And I've talked with most of the candidates. They were also surprised that the question pattern had changed. And if you see this year's selection, public ed is not among the highest subjects that have been selected. I think the last count that we're having in our Telegram group, I think we're around 24 or 25 out of around 600 candidates that have been selected. And then I think mathematics is even more ahead of us. So that was surprising. Because public ed used to do much, much better. But having said that, we must also look that the topper is from public administration. That means public administration still has scope. So as you said, what are the strategies that public administration, in which you can make score higher in public administration? So first of all, you'd have to be thorough with the thinkers. You know, what are they actually saying? Not just the theory, but you have to know how to link it with your paper 2. If you can link your paper 1 with your paper 2, that will give you more marks. And in both your papers, if you can give examples, especially you know, everyday examples from the Indian context or something that is happening in the news, you know, that will also give you more marks. And public administration, it requires you to, you know, write a lot. I mean, I think you should practice as many answers as you can, you know, as many questions as you can, if you can write. What I did was, first, Manoj sir used to give us daily questions sometimes, and I used to write that and submit to him. Some of them, I got good reviews. Sometimes, you know, I had to rework on those. So accordingly, I made those changes. And after that, what I did was, there's that previous year's question paper. I think you all must have bought it. It contains a list of all previous year public ed question papers. So what I did was I first solved, you know, all those questions. There's a good number of questions. So if you can practiced all those questions, it will give you a very thorough grip, especially in paper 1, the thinkers part. And if you don't know the answers, you can always, if it's too hard for you, you can't comprehend the question, you can always ask for search assistance, or you can search it online. There are various blogs, online, run by toppers or some previous year candidates, where they have given, ideas on how we should approach answering those difficult questions.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Any other question? Someone else says, Nikhil, you have raised hand. You want to talk? Please go ahead.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
My question is regarding prelims, as it is right around the corner. When this much time was left for your prelims, how were you approaching your studies from that point of view?
Initially, in my first attempt, I started from scratch. So I had to go from the NCERT, still the standard textbooks, then current affairs and everything. In my second attempt, what I did was, in my right around that time that I had, I broke it down. So I started with my core. I got thorough with it. Then I went with my with the current affairs, and in the end, I mixture of revision of both, and whatever I could remember. And I didn't bother, like I was not even 100% ready, I must be honest, and one is, I think all of you must be knowing, but the thing is to have confidence and go out there and try your best. And it worked out, because there was not that much time left to go through all the topics, all the materials. So whatever I could manage, I went through it. Also, you have to, by now you must be knowing how to predict the question paper a little bit also, your preparation and all. You must be knowing which topics are important, especially those questions which have been, those topic issues which have been in the news. Something related usually comes out of there, or some big innovation or some big research or something. If India has achieved something great, they may ask something from that areas as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Somebody else? Vyoma? Yes?
Hello, congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I wanted to ask about the current affairs strategy, as only 1 month is left. So how did you revise all the current affairs? Did you go through all the focus magazines, or just the compilations or the notes you made? Or how did you do the revision of current affairs?
I just scanned through all the focus once, the main headings and all. I just made it, and I made a small note of that. In one book, I made a small note of all the important topics. Then the compiled format, I followed that. These two I read exclusively for current affairs. And if there was any major issue in the news, I wouldn't write the whole issue down, but just the headlines, so that I know that, there's something linked to that issue may be asked, or something related may be important. So that's how I went about covering current affairs.
So one more thing, when we solve the question papers, sometimes we don't, get good marks. So there are a lot of questions that we need to see and revise. So how did you manage that time of doing the question paper at home and then revising the answers at the same time?
First of all, yes, scoring low, it always demoralizes us. But believe me, I was one of the, I think, I was not the topper in our class in GS2. I must say I was, this is about around the average. There were many toppers who used to score above 100. Us, we used to score maybe 60, 70. In some tests, we got as low as 50. And sometimes, yes, that did demoralize us. But the important thing is that try to solve as much as possible. And the scores that you are scoring, that probably will not be a real score, because the institutes set the paper in such a way to make it tougher for the students to score. So in the actual exam, you will score at least 5 to 10 marks higher than what you are scoring. So if you can work on that, your selection is pretty much guaranteed if you can manage to reduce your negatives, and then stick with what your core strengths are. I think you should do well.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome.
Any other questions?
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good
Sir,
morning.
can you tell something about answer writing practice and how to practice for the mains paper?
Okay. So answer writing itself, is an art, I would say. Initially, it's just to complete the answer because the first answer that you write, we don't know what to write, and it's probably, when you look at it, it look like it's one of the worst answers or something like that. So first thing is to just write an answer. Now, after practicing for around 3 or 4 answers, the second thing is to know how to structure your answer. So first is learning how to write an answer. Second is structuring the answer, and third is structuring it but giving it content. You have to give good content. And I would say at the end, and one of the most important is to complete your paper on time. It's very important to complete all your answers. You have 20 in GS, you have 20 questions in 3 hours. Sometimes it's difficult. So what you can do is, after you begin your answer writing, practicing, and once you get the gist of answer writing, set yourself a timer and then try to solve the paper within that 3 hour time frame. It's very important. One of the reasons I didn't get selected in my first attempt is because I left 4 questions in GS1. It really bothered me afterwards. If I had completed that, maybe my selection would have been made. But as it is, I would suggest that all of you complete your papers.
Okay, so means we have to attempt the maximum number
Yeah,
of questions.
maximum. There may be 1 or 2 questions where you know nothing. There's completely blank. Last year there was a question on that Cyberdome. So I didn't know what Cyberdome was. I had the idea that it was something to do with internet security, but I didn't know that which state police or where the project was being implemented. So I just gave an idea about India's, IT security. I gave that computer emergency response team, that CERT, all those, and then the IT Act, all those, how those can be framed around. I just wrote that, but that question I attempted in the end. When I had done all the others, you have to work with your, the questions that solve it first. Then the questions that you have a little bit of idea, then you solve it, and then at the end, the questions which you have no or little idea about, you write something about it. But of course, you have to write logically and rationally. But I think if you write that, you have to attempt at least, try to attempt all the questions.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Karthik, I was waiting for his hand only. Yes, Karthik.
Uh, Congratulations for your selection.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask that we get to know about prelims and mains through our teachers and all that. But what about interview? Like, how did it go? And like, can you just tell us something about it? Like,
You mean the strategy or?
how was your experience in the
Okay.
interview? Like, what did they ask you and all?
Oh, the interview.
Yeah.
Okay, my first interview was with Manoj Soni's board. So Sir Manoj Soni was the chairman. And during
Okay.
that interview, it was mostly about my graduation. I've done my graduation in B.Tech Civil Engineering. So they asked about that and mostly technical stuff, and then security related issues, China and the Northeast, how, Chinese presence can be geopolitically sensitive for the Northeast, and those sort of questions. And then they didn't really go into deep into my personality or something like that, but maybe that was enough to judge, and then accordingly they gave me the score. This time my chairman was Sir Basi, Bim Basi, the former Delhi police commissioner. So he is regarded as a tough person. I mean, candidates usually fear him. So when we first heard about him, when we were seated in the interview room, we got scared, and then a little bit of apprehension was there. But when I went inside, he was all calm. And then he did try to, unnerve me. He started, with directly with the questions, no introduction, nothing. At least in my first attempt, they told me to introduce. This time there was no introduction. Directly I entered the room, sat down, and then directly started firing the questions I gave. And there was another member. That member was not allowing, not only me, but any of our candidates in our group not to complete the answers. He would question something, and then right in between, after you say 1 or 2 words, he would shoot another question and so on. So maybe that was just to test whether we'd get nervous or something. I don't know, but that was done. So there was a first timer. I saw him when he was coming out of the room. he was trembling. He was from Tamil Nadu, a doctor from Tamil Nadu. His hands were shaking. He was trembling. But it was his first attempt. Maybe the experience was not as good for him. But there was another guy from UP. He was cool. I was not that unnerved, I think.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Because Richard has to go to his office also, he has to attend. He's working with Nagaland House at present. Anybody else? No questions. You have answered them so well, Richard. Gagan Vashisht. Oh, Gagan Vashisht. Gagan, please ask. One or two more, Richard. Huh?
Yeah, it's okay, sir. It's okay. Fine. It's fine.
Please.
Congratulations, sir.
Gagan, please ask, beta.
Congratulations, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir, I want to ask how Rao's test series for prelims helps you.
Series for Rouse. Rouse test series, it helped in a lot of ways, especially the prelims test series. So what they do is that initially we don't have a knowledge of all the subjects that is taught. So thematic wise Rouse goes, and so we're able to handle. So if you begin with history, they'll begin with a history set of questions. So you can move accordingly, and then at the end they'll have a combined test, and then there you can solve the questions. They also give you the answer key along with the explanation, so you can make notes of those explanation. Not just Rouse, but any other institute. If you are following the answer, the test series, you can look at the answer keys, and if there's something important in the answer key, or if you find something relevant, what I did was I used to make notes of those. If I didn't find it in the standard textbooks, or it was something totally new for me, I used to make notes of that, and I used to revise those as well.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, for each and every individual, there is one subject which is tough for him. For me,
Yes, yes.
it's history. So how did you deal with the history subject?
Okay, both of us were not that far apart, because the area where I found difficulty was art and culture.
Yeah, was same for me.
India is such a diverse, large country that the amount of art and culture that we have, it's impossible to just memorize all of them. So art and culture was difficult for me. So what I did was I worked on my core areas. I think I was not that bad in polity, and then economics was a very interesting area for me, so I worked on that as well. Environment and ecology was also something very interesting, so I read about that also. Geography was fine, not that strong, not that weak. History, like you said, it was in between, but art and culture part definitely I lagged, and even now I think many of you will be knowing more than what I know, because art and culture, something a little bit difficult, especially historical art and culture. That part, it's difficult, because art and culture also, it has different phases. You have your modern art and culture, but the old ones, that was difficult. So overall, I'd say that was a little bit an area where I needed improvement, and then even I would say I would need improvement. The other areas that I've mentioned, like his polity, economics, then environment and eco, those are the areas. For my prelims also, I worked more on those areas, because I had to make sure that if I am not scoring from art and culture or those areas, I have to be I have to have a hit ratio of 80 to 90% in the other questions that they're asking, so as to be able to clear prelims. So that's what I focused on. So work on your core areas, try to score as maximum from your core, and then your core strength areas, and then I think those weak areas also you should address. Last year there was a lot of questions from history and that art and culture area, I think. So we can't totally neglect it, but at least try to look into it as much as
Especially
possible.
medieval was asked. Last time, a lot of questions were on medieval, so you cannot definitely neglect any of the area.
I think, sir, a lot of candidates were neglecting that. That's why UPSC also must have realized that, and they wanted to teach us a lesson or something.
Exactly.
They
want
set the
to be
pattern.
attentive on all the aspects.
Because UPSC is a very dynamic exam. They do take feedback. Every small 1 or 2 years, you'll find something different in the paper.
Yes.
Ethics, there was only 3 case studies this time. People were expecting 5.
Yes, exactly. They have to. Otherwise, what happens with rote understanding, the student just go and tutored by people who say that just go with it and you will be successful. In order to handle that, because till the time we are not enabled. Anyway, Shivani and Divya, they have, please ask quick questions. Okay, Shivani, go ahead. Shivani, your audio is not there.
No.
Not clear, beta. Divya, you go ahead till the time she's.
Good morning, sir. First of all, congratulations.
Morning.
Sir, my question is regarding essay and GS4, which consists of a major portion of the mains, but we generally don't know how to strategize to prepare for them. Means how frequent we must be practicing to write them and what sources should we referring to.
Essay, there are no standard books for essays, because essay is what? Essay is a compilation of all your knowledge from all your GS as well as your optionals. It's just a compilation of that. How you reproduce it and then expand it. One concept, how do you expand it into 1,000, 1,200 words? That's your essay. So essay, you need to practice. So what I did was, I used to take up essay topics. I would write it, then I would compare it with toppers' essays, and I would link them. And not all the toppers, because toppers are also various breeds. There are some toppers who are very good in essays, so take those toppers whose essays are good, and then you compare that with your essays, and your content will be different. But if the structuring and if the idea, because essay is subjective, especially your philosophical type essays, it's very subjective. But if what the structuring demands, if you are writing that, and the order of presenting your essays, or the multi-dimensional ideas that you require in your essays, if you are able to provide that, you will get good scores in essays. You can also pick up a lot from the toppers. For example, one of the toppers last year, you must have, if you have seen her writings, Shushti, she used poetry in her essays. It was something new for me. I also learned a lot from that. Though I can't write poetry, it was interesting, how they would. Then I heard that there was another topper who used maps in his essays. Basically, it was a essay on tourism or something, and she just drew the map of India and then put all the important tourist places. So that was also innovative. And there are some who start with anecdotes, stories, or maybe seen a synopsis of a movie or a play they must have seen. They write like that. So it's all your innovation, how much you can innovate. Of course, it has to be related with the topic. You have to catch the examiner's eyes. Don't make it too boring. But definitely, if you follow that and then look at the structure, there is a definite structure. Once you get that, and if you work on your content, then your essay will be fine. For ethics, what you can do is you can separate it into two parts. Your core ethics is those, those values like honesty, your what is that? Truthfulness, all those, integrity, all those. So what you can do is, make notes of that definition. You can write, and then you can give an example below. One or two examples, so that you'll remember that. And then even in the exam, you can directly write that, and then it will save time for you also, because time factor is a big issue. For your case studies, you try to balance your answer. Don't be too extreme. For that, again, you can look at toppers' answers. Some of toppers, they're really good in ethics. What I've seen is they know how to, balance their opinions, or give way forwards and all. And in your ethics paper, try to be as broad viewed as possible. Not just tackle the issue, but if the issue has repercussions, how do you handle those issues? Think like a civil servant. If you were a DM of a district and that there was an issue, you would not just be solving that person or that area's issue. The whole district may have similar issues. So how do you see those as well? So you have to have a broader view in that. And then if you work on that, I think ethics also will give you good marks. But like I said, you have to notice the trend in essay. Case studies were an easy way of scoring marks, but they have reduced the number of case studies. And so we don't know, this year whether they'll do the same, whether they'll increase, or what tricks they have up their sleeves. But you should be prepared with that.
So sometimes they ask to quote our life examples. So how should we deal with that? Means
From your own life example, they say, this is Richard, what they are asking for, because they are just students, okay?
Yeah.
As you are, so they are saying that if they are asking that give an example from your own life, then what type of example should be given?
You know, all of us, I think we're at least 20 plus. So we have lived on this earth for around 20 or more years. So any topic that they ask, we will be able to give some example. You know, it may be simple, honesty. Maybe you stole something from the kitchen and didn't tell your mom about it, or you stole some money from her purse, something like that. There will be something, but you know, it may be innocent. But you will have experiences, you know, 20 plus years on this planet earth, and then you don't have an answer. No, that's not possible. Something or the other. So you can always quote those examples. And if it is not you, but your relatives, your brothers, or your something, your family member, you can always quote that because you are also involved in that. Maybe not directly, but indirectly. So you can also quote that. It's fine. Or your friends also, close friends.
yeah, okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're
Fine,
welcome.
Richard, I want that you please tell them something about the importance of DNS and focus, because they were asking questions about current affairs and all that. So how they can be helped with that?
Okay, sir.
Yes.
So DNS is very important because you know it breaks down your news. You don't have to go through the whole paper. They'll tell you the important topics, and even if you can't watch the entire DNS, at least the headlines that they have highlighted, you know, just note those down. Something you know related with that may come up or something, and then you can study it later on. If you don't want to watch the video, then maybe somewhere. Rouse Focus is, you know, I'm not trying to sell the magazine, but I'm saying it was a very useful magazine for me because other institutes also they come up with magazines, but the thing is that it's mostly literary work. You know, there's just material upon material, no infographics, and you know sometimes it becomes boring. You know, Rouse they have put a lot of material, and then the research team at Rouse, I must say, is one of the finest. I think one or two questions have come directly from Rouse materials. I've answered that. I've given some examples, and also the infographics part makes you remember your those facts earlier, and then leaves a lasting impression in your memory, so you're able to recall them for longer. So that is also, you know, important. And I think uh, Rouse has you know, focus is not that thick also. I mean, the number of pages, you know, they just give the important ones. They don't put any unnecessary things or anything. You won't find advertisements there. So you know, I think it's a good magazine. You should read that. You should read it.
Pooja?
Congratulations, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, I wanted to ask about your attempt in prelims paper. So how many questions did you plan to attempt and how many you actually attempted?
Okay, so attempt wise, I thought I'll attempt around 80 to 90 because there will be some questions which you're bound to not know, you know, something will be there. So in my first attempt, I think I attempted around 78, you know, slightly less than what I planned, but I was confident, you know, when I came out, and then after I reached home, and then in the evening, I think Rouse came up with the answer keys, and some other coaching institutes also did. I just, you know, checked, and then I verified with others. I took the average, and it was the score was good enough. I knew that I would get prelims. Last year was a bit more difficult because last year's prelims paper was, you know, a little bit unexpected also. So last year, I think I attempted slightly lesser number of questions, you know, because I also slightly panicked in the exam hall because some of the questions, you know, I didn't expect, and some of the questions that I knew would surely come, they didn't ask those. So I thought that they would come for sure. They didn't ask, so I was not able to, you know, solve those questions. So I did panic a little bit, but you know, the important thing is that I did what I could, and then I came out of it. After reaching my home, then after calculating it, the score was not that low, but you know, I didn't expect. So I consulted with some of my other fellow friends, and then I asked them how they felt the paper was. So all of them were saying it was tough. So then and there, I thought that, you know, the cutoffs will surely go lower, around 80. I mean, 80 to 90, maybe somewhere around that. So though it didn't go as low, but somewhere around that. So that gave confidence, and then in the end it worked out. But yeah, last year's prelims was a bit tougher compared to the previous years.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
That's uncertainty that always remains there, and that's the beauty
Yes.
of that.
Mhm.
Fine. Anyone else is there? We have
Sir, am I audible now?
Shivani. Yes, you are. You are. Okay. Okay. Please.
Okay.
You were in the queue first.
Thank you, sir. Yes. Congratulations, sir. So my question was, like, with respect to
Thank you.
newspaper. With respect to newspaper, actually, during this time, I'm finding a little difficult to make notes out of it. So
Okay.
will it affect in the exam? This was my question. Were you able to make notes out of newspaper each and every day?
No. That's not necessary. I'm not actually that kind of candidate who loves making a lot of notes. I would rather read than make notes. So, note making I limited, and then those only before the exam, that final compilation part, I used to do that. Note making I'm not really fond of. But if there is an important issue or important subject in the newspapers, like the Hindu or Indian Express or whatever paper you are following, all newspapers they have a page where they explain current affairs or issues. So that page I used to make notes if I found it really important. Or if you don't want to make the notes, if you're good with reading just from any source, you can take a screenshot, or you can just copy that in your Word and then MS Word, and then you can read it later on. That would also be fine.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Pooja, quickly, because he has to attend his office also. Quickly, just
Sir,
2
I'm
more
done.
minutes. Yes.
I asked my question.
You have asked. Okay, your hand was still there. Shreya Mishra.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, can you please tell us what was your strategy towards the public administration? Like, what sources you preferred for the preparation of public administration?
Public administration, yeah, and sources I didn't refer that many. What I relied on was Manoj sir's notes, the notes from Rouse, and then polity part, just followed Lakshmikant, and then the standard textbooks that you have, the thinkers part, I just followed that. Other than that, I didn't rely on a lot of material. But if there was any topic or issue, I just Googled it, and then something would show up, and then I would understand from that. So. And then I told you, while solving the previous year papers, you'll find a lot of topics. You'll be able to learn a lot. There are some questions which, you may think that it's not even in the syllabus. 1 or 2 questions are like that. So, but they are a part of the syllabus. Somehow they are connected. So, when you start solving the question papers, only you'll be able to find out that those topics are also there. And then, like I said, for the notes, I mostly relied on sir's notes, and then. From the institute's notes. That's it. I didn't, fit that many.
And so one more question. So what was the Compass magazine, which we get C31, is that more beneficial, or that Focus magazine Woman, which we get?
Both are beneficial, because what happens is that Focus covers on a monthly basis. The other magazine covers on a, it's a summary. So for revision, you can follow that one, but there may be some topics missing there, and those topics may be asked. We can't say for sure. So at least I think we have to be able to read the Focus, magazine. We should be able to complete it. It's not a very big magazine also. So I think if you are thorough with your 1 year's Focus, and then C3, if you can just revise it, that will be good enough for your prelims, your current affairs.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Gaurav Sharma. And please be quick.
Good morning, sir, and first of all, congratulations for your success.
Good morning.
I just wanted to ask that after prelims, you get about 80 to 90 days as we are having for the 2021. So what was your strategy, how you combine the optional subject and the GS part and practicing the questions? So what was that time division slot?
Okay. So yeah, it's very important. Don't see this exam as separate, in watertight compartments. Prelims, mains, and interview. Yes, certain strategies differ, and then the techniques are different, but these are related. They're all part of the same examination. So you cannot say that I'll start preparing for mains only after I give my prelims. It has to be simultaneously. Answer writing has to be from the day you start your preparation, or at least a few months into that. You can't say one of the mistake that I made was also that in my first attempt I was practicing answer writing, but I fully started answering the questions after my prelims, and that didn't leave me much time. And during our time, we got at least around 3.5 months, but that itself was not sufficient. So what happened after I didn't get selected during my second attempt? From day one itself, I started answer writing practice, and that way I was able to complete a lot of test series. Also, I completed I think 3 or 4 coaching institutes test series, so that gave a lot of a great idea about the questions, the diversity of questions, or the pattern, and all those. So you should be practicing answer writing and for your mains, whether you get selected or not, because even if not this year, one year you are bound to get selected. And mastering the art of answer writing is only going to be beneficial for you. You're never going to lose anything from that. So don't worry about whether you get selected or not. Prelims will take care of itself, but mastering the answer writing part and your main strategy also, it should go hand in hand. So if you haven't begun your answer writing practice, or if you haven't started your mains preparation, I suggest that you start it from now on, because you're not going to get a lot of time. Your mains is writing January after prelims at 4th October, so that won't leave you much time.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, Richard, thank you so much for being with us. It was really fantastic to see you after a long time.
Thank you, sir.
You have been, and that's great. You have told them that they should not be just surfing too many different materials, rather should focus and focus more on revision. Okay,
yeah, sir.
So that's basically the strategy, and he has helped you. I think Shreya and all, Gaurav, you have asked questions. So this was great, Richard, and I think you are late today for
No,
joining.
sir. No, sir. There's still time. You can continue if you want. There's still
okay. Anybody else? Pius? Anything? Richard, what happens as I was seeing these students? So you have actually given them a good one, saying that don't take it for granted. As I was seeing them that we used to give them questions, but many of them were not submitting. So
Yes,
you
sir.
told them fantastic. And you also told them about that it is very dynamic arrangement. Okay.
Yes, sir.
We keep talking of examples, that use examples from your whatever you are seeing currently in your paper 2, use paper 1. Bad, I am talking of at that, and paper 1 in paper 2 and paper 2 in paper 1. That helps you, because if you are writing, let's say something about even Simon, and if you can talk about something what is happening in the current administration, that is very helpful.
Of course.
So what happens
Sir,
is,
this management of this corona pandemic, what Herbert Simon was, exactly happening.
It will give them a lot of great examples. So this is what I say, but when we say, you understand what happens, a big generation gap. I am 50 years and you people are just in early 20s. Okay. So when you say, it is more appealing. We all remember hostel days. Teachers keep saying, "Pahlo yaar, semester exam aa raha hai, now study." And we were saying, yes, yes, yes. But one day in the mess, when students will say, "Fools, now study, otherwise we all will fail." And then the entire hostel was just working and studying. So I want a call from your side that you tell them for 2 minutes that it is very important to focus on few things first. And that is what rightly you have said. This is what I have told them, that at Rouse we are doing sufficient. You need not, because otherwise, see, information is you just keep surfing and it will keep coming. But repetition is never helpful. Repetition is never helpful. If you are seeing something new, as you have rightly told them, suppose a new topic comes, okay, something question comes across, let it be public administration or let it be economy, Google it and find it out. But reading the same thing from different sources, that let me cover this also from this coaching also, people are studying this coaching notes also, that is never helpful. So this is, I think, you wanted to communicate to them. I just wish, as you told that you relied on just Rao's notes, and in PubAd you relied on my notes and Rao's provided notes. I think that must have helped you because you were not confused at all. You were not having the problem of that you were loaded with too much of information that, okay, I have seen this in notes of, I will not like to name them because all are, I say, they may be good.
Yeah.
But when you are there, everyone is providing standard information. What we want is, and that's why we try to have a very detailed test series and everything at Rao's also. Okay, also, the core idea is that learn to focus. And this is, if you will speak something on it for next 1 or 2 minutes, that will be very helpful to these students because I wish all of them are selected. And you have rightly said, don't worry if you're not selected for mains this year, you will be selected next year, keep working. But as you told, that it is very important that you should be working. So please say something, Richard, on this, so they are really helped.
Okay.
Because they are your fellow beings only, and just of your age, so they have all the motivation from your side. Please, Richard.
Okay. So first and foremost, I would like to tell each and every one of you that all of you are capable of making it into the civil services. The fact that you have come this far into the journey is a testament to it. You know, don't doubt yourselves. I have a friend who has got selected in his 5th attempt, and he's planning to write his 6th this year. So, you know, do not get discouraged. Some get selected in their 1st attempt, some in their 5th attempt, some in their last attempt. That doesn't matter, you know. And what you take out of the civil services preparation, this will be beneficial for you throughout your life. You know, in whatever endeavor that you venture out, it may be a business, it may be, you know, you may become an entrepreneur, but you will know something. For instance, if you study geography, you know what kind of crops grow where, what is the climatic condition of the country, how you can, you know, come into it. When you study polity, you know the laws in the land, you know how to approach, you know, what organizations you should approach to get approval for your product or something like that. So it will always help you throughout your life. Not getting into the civil services doesn't mean that it has been a wastage. So don't feel that, you know, this 1 year, 2 year, 3 year preparation stage has been lost. You know, this has made you great human beings and great citizens of this great country, I must say, you know, because many of us are not aware of our rights. We are not aware of our duties. It's only when you start preparing for the civil services that you really become aware of, you know, what really the Indian Constitution requires its citizens to become, and how the Constitution requires us to contribute towards the betterment of the country. So that's that. For the other part, you've all been working hard, and I'm sure you'll work even harder. So have faith in yourselves, continue to work hard. And as sir was saying, and also I'm saying, do not rely too much on, you know, other materials. Maybe, you know, some institutes, they may be having some materials which this institute is not having, but it's not sure that that question will be asked or something from here will be asked. No one knows. It's unpredictable. You know, there's too much out there. You cannot predict. But there are common areas, you know, where there's probability of asking, and all institutes, you know, they conduct a lot of research before putting out the material. So you should trust what you're reading. The fact that you have taken admission in this institution means that you trust the institution. The fact that you have joined optionals in this institution means you trust the person who is teaching you your optionals, who's teaching you. So have faith in yourself, have faith in your tutor, and then go for it, you know. And ultimately, you know, in the long run, this will be beneficial for you. You know, I hope that all of you are, you know, get through this year, and then you're able to write mains. And, you know, I hope that many of you, you know, will be sharing the same talks that I'm sharing, you know, with the next batch and so on in the coming years.
So Richard, thank you so much. Thank you very much.